You can probably also hear the dog in the background. And that big motorbike. Okay. Hello everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It is so good to have you here today. I have a slightly different video today. I have an unpopular opinions video because I want to share some things that some people may find a little bit triggering, but it's good to educate yourself and have an open mind. So let's get started. So this video is very much centered around unpopular opinions to do with coaches, therapists, counselors, healers, essentially more spiritually minded people. Obviously I can only really speak from experience, so that is the sector I will be focusing on, the rise of spirituality in all of the coaches and counselors and therapists and healers. I feel there are two types of people when it comes to coaches. I'm going to focus on coaches, but you could really use this for any kind of therapist or counselor or healer. And I'm sure you'll have noticed these two people as well. And I don't want to collapse everybody. Obviously, everyone is different. There might be some people who are not remotely like this, but there just happens to be quite a distinct body of two types of coaches. So the first type is the pushy type, somebody who happens to be naturally very good at marketing, and they're quite pushy with their energy, they're pushy with their products and their services, and they're very good at talking themselves up, and therefore they're really good at coming across as if they know what they're talking about. They might not have any experience, they might never have worked with a client before, but because they can talk the talk, people tend to listen to them and think, oh yeah, they know what they're talking about, I'm going to book a session with them, and they just make a ton of money. And then they end up becoming the type of coaches who say, I can teach you how to get a six-figure business, it's only £2,000 for one session, and then you're going to know the secret to being able to make loads of money. And they are very money orientated, very manifestation orientated, and I think they genuinely feel like they're coming from a really authentic space, but when you're on the receiving end of that, quite often it doesn't feel very authentic. And these are the kinds of people who will send you emails or messages and they've never spoken to you before, or they've spoken to you once before, and they'll say, oh hi lovely, I just wanted to let you know about this course or this project that I'm working on that you might like. Some weird noises going on today in the house, and it's like they're just pushing what they have on you, so you feel almost like you have to go for it. I really hate that kind of marketing. I actually had somebody who I've literally spoken to once message me about 6 months to a year after we'd spoken, saying, oh, I have this product that I'm launching, I know you'd love it, I wanted to let you know about it so you don't miss out. And I was just thinking, how would you know that I would love it? You don't know me, you know absolutely nothing about me. But not only that, get to know me, and then you can actually create an authentic connection with me, and then I'll be more likely to invest in you because I'll feel that I trust you and I value you. And I actually messaged her and I said, I'm really sorry, but I don't like this kind of marketing, and if anything it just puts me off. I'm the kind of person who, because I'm quite independent, I can search for what I want, find it and book it myself, and because you've come to me, I just feel as though I haven't had the opportunity to intuitively connect with it, to connect with you, and it just doesn't feel aligned and it doesn't feel authentic. And she messaged back saying, I really appreciate that you shared that, actually I hadn't considered it might come across that way, and yes, that's a really good point for the future. I think it just sent it to everybody in my message. Is that a car alarm? Okay, we'll just say it's a car alarm. I need some kind of like intermission music. And so I think that's really important. That's something to really notice, is that if you want to create an authentic relationship and connection with your clients and your customers, just to consider how it might be received by different types of people. Some people love that type of marketing, they're really receptive to it, it'll really work. Other people, such as myself, really don't like it because it feels really fake and it feels really like it's forced upon you. So that's just something to bear in mind. And then the flip side of this is somebody who is very experienced, very trained in what they do, very knowledgeable, has been through so many difficult things, healed themselves, come out the other side, and genuinely comes from a space of humble service where they just want to create a space where other people can receive the healing they've received for themselves in their own version, you know, their own way. And they're completely authentic, and yet they happen to be terrible marketers because they come from a space of such deep humility, and it's not about making money. They kind of cannot make the marketing happen, and often therefore are not very famous or are not making six-figure business. Again, this isn't a blanket rule for every coach, but this is just a theme that I've noticed since I've been coaching and since I've connected with just so many other coaches, famous coaches and normal coaches, I guess. These people just really genuinely want to create that sacred space for other people because they have really benefited from and enjoyed the healing they have experienced, and they just want to recreate that so that if somebody else can experience that and recreate healing for themselves, then that is their gift to the world or their purpose being fulfilled. So there's a real divide really in one group of people who don't really know what they're talking about but sound like they know what they're talking about, and the other group of people who know what they're talking about but are not able to get that across in how they present themselves, whether that is on social media or face-to-face, it doesn't matter. I've noticed as well that it's quite common for people who are in the former, you know, the more pushy marketing side, they tend to not actually have any training. I think this is really important, and I say this to fellow coaches and to people who will be looking to work with a coach or a healer. It's so important to be trained in what you're doing, not just so that you actually know what you're talking about, but because learning about ethics and morals and how to actually care for a customer or a client when you're in that healing space with them is really important. You are literally taking somebody's mental and emotional health into your hands when you enter into either a group or a one-to-one setting as a coach, and therefore you have a huge responsibility to not do more harm than good, to not leave the person feeling worse than they did when they entered working with you. And I feel really passionately about that. That might be an unpopular opinion to some people, but I actually think if you're not trained, why are you saying that you know what you're talking about? Why are you offering sessions to people? You're taking someone's life into your hands. It's no different to being a surgeon or to being a driving instructor. You are taking someone's life into your hands. You need to respect and honor that. I feel really that's quite important. I think if you're going to work with a coach or a healer, I would actually invite you to ask them where they trained or what they're specifically trained in, or to see if they have that on their website somewhere, because many countries do not require coaches or therapists or healers to actually have trained. So I could move to one of these countries and claim that I am some kind of healer, and I might not have a clue. I might have just read a book. People can be intuitively or naturally inclined to being great healers or great coaches or therapists, but you still need the training that comes with a course or something like that so that you actually know what you're talking about. And I'm not talking about one of those really cheap rubbish courses that you get on one of those websites where you buy it online and it's like 10 videos and then you think you know what you're talking about. I mean like in-person courses where you do some learning online and some face-to-face, and there needs to be practical training 100%. Like if you want to be a good coach, if you genuinely want to help people, and if you want to receive good coaching and good healing and be in that space, then you 100% need to be with somebody who knows what they're talking about. You will have a better experience. They will be better at their job if they've trained. And I'm really I can't stress this enough. I think it's a bit irresponsible actually that some countries don't require people to have trained, and maybe that's because they don't value alternative or holistic healing or therapy practices, and that's kind of a shame because it opens up this loophole for people to run around claiming they know what they're talking about when they don't, and that will make other people feel that they can't trust that space. Oh, you know, they don't know what they're talking about. It's a load of rubbish. It's a load of hooey. They made it up on the spot. Yeah, because they haven't got the training. They don't know what they're talking about. Everybody has some kind of natural, intuitive or healing or expressive or creative element to them, but we still need training or guidance to bring that forth, and we still need a structure of how to hold that space. Like I had no clue about what holding space was until I did my training, and now I feel like it's something that I feel quite competent in. But if you haven't had any training, then you might not know how to set space, you might not know how to put protective layers around for the client, you might not know how to make the space feel welcoming and inviting, you might not know how to open, you might not know how to do leading questions or open questions, you might not know how to get to the source of the issue, you might not really have any clue of what can actually help the client. Like, there's just so many variables that I'm like, that it actually really bothers me to think people just run around claiming this. I've definitely seen this happening. So if you do feel called to become a coach, or if you do want to work with a coach, please just make sure that you train. It's just worth it. You're just going to create better results for the people that you work with, because you're going to be more knowledgeable and you're going to know how to hold that space properly. And holding space is literally one of the most important things in a session. If you're one of those humble, coming from a heart-centered space healers, then I just want to remind you that you have just as much right as anybody else to take up space and to share what you do. And just talking about it and talking about what you feel passionately about and making yourself readily available through having a website or sign up links, etc. on different platforms people can connect you on, is just really important. So I really advise that, and just invite you to step forth and to recognize your worth and to move into that space and stay with your humility, but step into your empowered, aware self. And if you are somebody who is perhaps a bit pushy, maybe isn't trained, don't really know what you're doing, or is at a stage now where you think you know what you're doing because you've done it for a while, I just invite you to consider training and consider looking at how you can really serve your clients more. And again, if you are one of those people, it's likely that you're making quite a bit of money, so you can definitely afford to do a course, and it's just going to make your sessions so much better. It's going to make you so much better as a coach or a therapist or a healer or whatever it is that you offer. And ultimately that should be your drive, is making sure that you can offer the best thing ever for your clients so they can get results, not making as much money as you possibly can. If you want to get into making lots of money, there's tons of other careers out there. But if you're going to step into the holistic or spiritual or mental or emotional health sector, 100% you have to come from a heart-centered, loving space, as opposed to a I'm going to make money space. That's not what this sector is about. Okay, ran over. Thank you so much for watching. If you resonate with what I talk about, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to open up to a healthy, happy, positive discussion, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.